Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about something most people overlook, the power of words. At any age, our language reflects the way we see ourselves. But after 70, the words we choose are especially important because they influence not only how others treat us, but also how we view our own worth. Now, I want you to imagine this. Every time you say something negative about yourself, you are training your brain to believe it. Words are not harmless. They shape our thoughts, our confidence, and even our health. That is why I am going to share 12 words and phrases that older women over 70 should stop saying immediately. Language is one of the most powerful tools we possess as human beings. It is not simply a way of communicating ideas to others, it is also the way we communicate with ourselves. The words we use in daily life, whether spoken aloud or whispered silently in our own minds, play a central role in shaping our thoughts, our emotions, and even our behavior. And this truth becomes even more important as we age. For women over 70, language can become either a weapon that weakens the spirit or a shield that preserves dignity, confidence, and hope. Today, I want to show you how the words you choose are not just empty sounds, but forces that sculpt your perception of yourself and influence how the world perceives you. From the time we are young, we are conditioned by language. If a child hears the words "you're smart" or "you're strong," those words take root and grow into confidence. If, on the other hand, the child constantly hears "you're clumsy" or "you'll never succeed," the words become chains that hold the child back. Now consider this, the same principle applies in later life. After 70, many women have spent decades listening to messages from society, family, or even their own thoughts, messages that often tie aging to decline, frailty, and loss. Over time, those words can creep into daily speech. You may hear older women say things like, "I'm too old for that," or "my time has passed," or "I'm not useful anymore." What seems like a casual remark is in reality a powerful statement that reshapes identity. Words do not just describe reality, they create it. If you say, "I'm too old," you are programming your mind to accept limitations that may not actually exist. Instead of exploring what you can still do, you begin to focus only on what you believe you cannot do. This self-perception influences your choices, your mood, and even your physical health. Studies in psychology have shown that people who view aging positively live longer, remain more active, and recover more quickly from illness than those who see aging in a negative light. The difference lies in perception, and perception is built on language. Let's take a simple example. Imagine two women, both 75 years old. The first woman says often, "I'm too old to learn anything new." The second woman says, "I may be older, but I can still keep learning." The first woman limits herself before even trying. She avoids challenges, and over time, her skills stagnate. The second woman, however, opens herself to possibilities. She may pick up a new hobby, learn to use a smartphone, or join a book club. The two women are the same age, but their experiences of life are completely different because of the words they use. Another way that language shapes perception is through the way others respond to us. When you consistently speak about yourself in negative terms, the people around you begin to mirror that attitude. If you say, "I'm weak," often, family members may start treating you as fragile, even when you are capable. If you say, "I'm a burden," your loved ones may unintentionally confirm that belief through pity or overprotection. On the other hand, when you use words that emphasize strength, resilience, and value, people see you through that lens. They treat you with respect and admiration. In this way, your words teach others how to view you. This is why I emphasize that older women must guard their language carefully. The words you choose act as architects of your identity. Think of them as tools. They can either build walls that trap you or open doors that lead to freedom. Every time you say, "I can't," you build a wall. Every time you say, "I'll try," you open a door. Every time you say, "I'm too old," you close a window of possibility. Every time you say, "It's never too late," you let in fresh air. The choice is yours, but the consequences are profound. There is also a deeper psychological aspect to this. Our brains are wired to respond to repetition. When you repeat a phrase often, your mind begins to believe it without question. If you tell yourself daily, "I am too old," your brain accepts it as truth. If, however, you replace that with "I am capable," your brain begins to seek evidence to support that statement. Over time, you build new patterns of thought which create new behaviors and ultimately a new reality. This is not simply motivation. It is neuroscience. Language rewires the brain. Now, I am not suggesting that words alone can erase the challenges of aging. Our bodies do change. Our energy may not be what it was at 25. But here is the key. The words you use determine whether you focus only on the decline or whether you recognize the possibilities that remain. Saying, "I can't walk as fast as I used to," is very different from saying, "I can still walk and I am grateful for that." Both statements may be true, but one closes the heart while the other opens it. Another important point is how language shapes your relationship with the future. If you constantly say, "My best days are behind me," you are programming yourself to stop looking forward. The future becomes a blank wall. But if you say, "I still have meaningful days ahead," you give yourself permission to imagine, to plan, and to live with purpose. At 70, 80, or even 90, you are still writing the story of your life. The pen is in your hand and your words are the ink. The way you speak today shapes the chapters you will live tomorrow. Consider also the impact on health. Medical research has shown that negative self-perceptions of aging are linked to higher rates of memory loss, cardiovascular problems, and even shorter lifespan. On the other hand, those who use positive language about aging experience better physical health and mental well-being. This is not magic, it is the mind-body connection. When your language is filled with self-limiting beliefs, your stress levels rise, your motivation decreases, and your body responds with fatigue and illness. When your language reflects resilience and hope, your body receives signals of vitality and energy. In a very real sense, your words become medicine. Let us not forget the social dimension. For women over 70, language is also a way of teaching the younger generation what aging means. If you speak about aging with despair, younger people learn to fear it. They begin to believe that life after 70 is only decline. But if you speak with dignity, humor, and strength, you become a role model who redefines what aging can look like. Your words do not just shape your own perception, they shape society's perception of age as well. This is an extraordinary responsibility and an extraordinary opportunity. So how can you begin to change the way you use language? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to the words you say about yourself, even in casual conversation. Do you often say, "I'm too old, I'm useless with technology," or "I can't remember anything"? Notice these patterns and then challenge them. Ask yourself, is this word helping me grow or is it limiting me? Then consciously choose a replacement. Instead of "I'm useless with technology," try "I am learning technology step by step." Instead of "I can't remember anything," try "I may need reminders, but I am still learning every day." These changes may seem small, but over time, they reshape how you see yourself. Another practice is gratitude language. Each day, speak words of thanks for what your body and mind can still do. Say, "I am grateful I can walk," or "I am thankful for the wisdom my years have given me." Gratitude shifts your focus from what is lost to what remains. It builds resilience and joy, and it rewires your brain to look for positivity. And perhaps most importantly, speak words of encouragement to yourself out loud. It may feel strange at first, but affirmations are powerful. Tell yourself, "I am strong, I matter, I am still learning, and I am valuable." With repetition, these words become beliefs. With belief, they become reality. In conclusion, language is not just a reflection of who you are. It is a creator of who you become. For women over 70, every word spoken is a choice to reinforce decline or to celebrate growth, a choice to accept limitation or to embrace possibility. The words you use today will echo in your future, shaping your confidence, your health, and the legacy you leave behind. So choose wisely. Speak words that lift you up, words that give you strength, words that remind you that age is not the end of the story, but a powerful chapter still being written. Because at 70 and beyond, you are not defined by years, you are defined by the language you live by. And that language has the power to shock you, to surprise you, and to reveal just how much life you still have to live. There is a simple truth about life that many people forget: the words you choose either weaken you or empower you. Every sentence you speak is like a seed, and depending on the seed you plant, you will grow either a garden of strength or a field of limitation. For older women, especially those over 70, this principle becomes even more crucial. At this stage of life, society often tries to label you with words of decline: frail, dependent, irrelevant. If you are not careful, you may begin to adopt those same words in your own speech, reinforcing the very stereotypes that hold you back. But here is the good news: you have the power to change this. By replacing limiting words with powerful ones, you can transform your self-image, your relationships, and your quality of life. Think for a moment about how often you use words that close doors instead of opening them. I can't. I'm too old to die. I'm just a burden. These phrases may feel harmless in the moment, but they slowly eat away at your spirit. They convince your mind that your opportunities are shrinking, when in reality, you still have immense capacity for growth, joy, and contribution. The key lies in substitution, taking those limiting words and exchanging them for words that affirm your strength and potential. Consider the phrase, I'm too old. How many times have you heard an older woman say that? Yet the truth is that age is not an automatic disqualification. There are women in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s running marathons, starting businesses, painting masterpieces, or mentoring young people. When you replace I'm too old with I still have time, your perspective shifts. Instead of closing the door to possibility, you remind yourself that life is not finished, it is simply in a new season. That one replacement word changes how you view your days ahead. Now take another phrase, I can't. This is perhaps the most destructive word combination in the English language because it creates an invisible wall before you even attempt something. I can't learn technology. I can't exercise. I can't change now. Each time you say, I can't, you surrender before the battle begins. But if you replace I can't with I'll try, you give yourself permission to move forward. I'll try to learn how to use this phone. I'll try a new form of exercise. I'll try to change one small habit. The difference between I can't and I'll try is the difference between a closed life and an open one. It is the difference between surrender and resilience. Another limiting phrase older women often use is, I'm a burden. This phrase comes from the belief that needing help or care makes you less valuable. But the reality is that every human being at every age both gives and receives care. When you were young, you provided for children or supported family members. Later in life, others may support you. This is not being a burden. It is the natural flow of human relationships. Instead of saying, I'm a burden, replace it with I am love or I bring wisdom. These words highlight your worth, your contributions, and your irreplaceable role in your family and community. You are not a weight to others, you are a gift, and your language must reflect that truth. Let us also look at the phrase, it's too late for me. This statement shuts down possibility with finality. It suggests that the story is already written, that your life has no more chapters left to unfold. But history proves otherwise. Many great achievements have been made in later years. Laura Ingalls Wilder published her first Little House book in her 60s. Grandma Moses, the famous painter, did not begin her career until her 70s. These examples remind us that as long as you are breathing, it is never too late. Replace, it's too late for me, with I am still becoming. That shift keeps the door of life wide open, reminding you that the journey continues. Words also matter when it comes to self-image. Too often, older women say things like, I'm unattractive or I look terrible at my age, but beauty is not about wrinkles or youth. It is about presence, character, and the light you bring into a room. Instead of using words that diminish, choose words that honor your evolving beauty. Say, I am graceful, I am radiant, or I carry wisdom in my face. These words allow you to see yourself not as fading, but as transforming. Your body changes, yes, but your beauty matures into something deeper, more enduring, and more inspiring. Now, why does this substitution of words matter so much? Because words are not passive, they direct your energy. If you tell yourself I'm weak, your body responds with less motivation, less effort. But if you say I'm strong, even in small ways, your body rises to the challenge. Words are cues to the brain, and the brain sends signals to the body. This is why athletes use affirmations, why patients recovering from illness use positive self-talk, and why older women must be deliberate in their language. What you say conditions your reality. Replacing limiting words also changes your relationships. If you constantly tell your children or grandchildren, I'm useless or I'm failing, they may begin to believe it and treat you accordingly. But if you tell them, I am still learning, or I am grateful for today, you teach them resilience, gratitude, and strength. You model a way of aging that is not about decline, but about growth. Your words become lessons, and those lessons live on in the next generation. Let me also remind you of the emotional impact. Limiting words breed despair, while empowering words create hope. When you say, I'm lonely, the feeling grows heavier. But if you shift to I am open to connection, you give yourself an invitation to reach out. When you say, my best days are behind me, you close off joy. But if you say, I can still create beautiful days, you give yourself hope. Hope is not a fantasy, it is fuel. And that fuel is created by the words you use daily. Some may ask, but isn't this just pretending? If I'm struggling, shouldn't I be honest? And the answer is yes, honesty matters. But honesty does not require self-destruction. You can acknowledge reality without using words that imprison you. Instead of, I'm failing, you can say, I'm learning through challenges. Instead of, I can't remember anything, you can say, sometimes I forget, but I'm still capable. These phrases are truthful, but framed with dignity and possibility. That is the essence of replacing limiting words with powerful ones. It is not denial, it is reframing. The habit of substitution takes practice. Start by listening closely to your own speech. Notice when you use words like old, weak, burden, or useless. Then pause and ask yourself, what is a more powerful way to say this? Write down replacement phrases. Repeat them daily until they feel natural. Over time, your speech changes, your thoughts change, and your perception of yourself transforms. This is not an instant miracle, but it is a steady path to empowerment. The result of this shift is profound. Women who replace limiting words with powerful ones report feeling more confident, more energetic, and more engaged with life. They build stronger relationships because they present themselves with dignity and strength. They inspire others because their language reflects resilience instead of resignation. And they discover that aging is not a season of decline, but a season of opportunity. The world will always offer you limiting words. You will hear phrases like senior moment, over the hill, or too old for that. But you have the power to reject those labels and replace them with your own. You can say, I am wise, I am capable, I am still alive with purpose. This act of replacement is not small, it is revolutionary. It is how you reclaim your identity from stereotypes and live as the author of your own story. So my message to every older woman is this: pay attention to your words. If a word weakens you, discard it. If a word strengthens you, repeat it. Build a vocabulary of power, not limitation. Teach yourself and those around you that aging is not the end, it is transformation. Replace every I can't with I'll try, every I'm too old with I still can, every I'm a burden with I am loved. Because the words you choose are the reality you create, and the reality you create determines the life you live.